Hey guys, it's Kat, and in today's video I'm getting rid of some shit I don't want. Now I do this sort of periodically when I'm going through my drawers of makeup and I just pull out things that I'm like I don't really care for, I don't need in my life, and they're just taking up room. And usually I don't film a video about them, but I thought there's enough stuff here that I will do this, and it might be an incentive for me to do this every few months, just sort of go through foundations. I am currently doing a project where I'm trying all my lip products and I'm decluttering them this year. I was thinking of doing something similar with my foundations because I have a drawer full of foundations and I have forgotten which ones I actually like the formula of. So I think what I might do, if you're interested in seeing sort of me testing foundations and checking in and giving little mini reviews, I might try to do that. Before I do start, if you're interested in what I've got on my eyes, I will be doing a 1 week 1 palette review of the Glaminatrix You Beauty palette, and this is the first look, so that'll be coming up. All right, let's just cut the crap and let's talk about some Morphe palettes. I'm getting rid of, how many of these? There's 6. Now I know there's a lot of Morphe snobs out there that hate Morphe and don't like them at all. I actually did keep 2 palettes. One is the Taupe palette, which I actually really love, even though it's like 50 shades of bland. And I also kept the James Charles palette. I've never actually used that, but I thought it might be fun years after it released to be like, let's try this. But you know, if I don't like it, I'm going to get rid of it. But these are just all like, oh, look, they're all brown palettes essentially. This is the 25B, don't need it. We've got the Jaclyn Hill, which was one of my least favorite Morphe palettes. I know some people love this palette. I just found it to be so boring and average quality. I just thought there were so many redundant shades. I didn't need it. This is the 35M. What the fuck is that? I don't know. Oh, this is one that I actually did a video on. I think I did a 1 month 1 palette review on, and I do quite like some of the shades here. I just didn't love the quality. I just found that it was a little bit of an effort to work with. Sort of had to gouge a brush in these to use them. So I haven't touched that since that review, so what's the point of keeping it really? We've got the 35F. I actually quite like this color story. It is 50 shades of brown, but it's 50 shades of browns that I like. I just decided not to keep this because I like the Taupe palette more. I've got the 3502. Now, when I bought this, I don't know. I love these shades. I think these orangey red shades are beautiful. I just don't think I want to keep this to access these when I probably have red shades and orange shades that I like just as much in smaller palettes. And this is the big 35S palette, which looks like this. It's massive, it's purple, the quality is not too bad. I just don't reach for it too often. What I will probably do with this palette specifically is keep it in case I have a friend that wants it, because I think I've used this once or twice. It's a fairly new palette. Some of these are sort of old and beaten up, but that one's fairly new. So yeah, I'll pass these on to people if they want them, otherwise they're going in the bin. And again, I don't actually hate Morphe palettes. I feel like Morphe eyeshadow quality is on par with Colourpop. Some people are gonna crucify me for saying that. They're just big and bulky, and I don't find that I reach for really big palettes. They just sit in a drawer, they gather dust, and because they're so big, I just forget to reach for them. Like, that's almost cleared out a whole drawer in itself. I'd prefer to move them on to people that will enjoy them or get rid of them, and then focus on the smaller palettes that I want to reach for on a daily basis. More palettes I'm getting rid of. Speaking of Colourpop, I can probably get rid of a whole bunch of their 9-pan palettes because realistically, I don't love Colourpop formula. I think some of their color stories are quite nice and I will keep them because I don't have anything similar, but I have a lot of greens in my collection, and this one I just didn't love. I remember when I was talking about loving sort of olive green shades, a lot of people were like, you should try the Just My Luck palette from Colourpop. This is very cool toned green. It's very sort of jade green. It's not really my jam. Don't love the quality, so again, I'm going to pass that on or get rid of it. A couple that I'm going to get rid of because they are super old. One is from Ciate. This is the Pretty Fun and Fearless palette with Chloe Morello. Now, I love the color story of this. I think it's such a beautiful color story. I just don't like the quality. The mattes are fine. The shimmers are the type of shimmer that don't pick up on a brush very well. So I've got here just an Urban Decay flat brush. Let's try to pick up this shade here. It just doesn't pick up and transfer very well. So it takes a lot to pick up the product and actually get it on your eye. And I found that I had to really gouge into these, and some of them do sort of seal up. So even though I particularly love these dark sort of, they're like navy purples. They're really stunning. And I was tempted to just keep this just to find dupes of these colors because they're really flattering, especially on my eye coloring. I think these are gorgeous, but it's been in my collection for so long and I haven't touched it in years. So I thought that one can go. I don't need it. Two that were hard for me to declutter, but I just have to come to terms with it, is my Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palettes. Now, I'm not a huge Gwen Stefani fan, so this is not like, I didn't buy this being like, oh, it's a collector's item. This is pretty much just light shades, which I don't usually use. I use it to set my base and then I move on to midtones. So it's light, dark, and a few colors. So very Gwen Stefani, so that very light shade on the lid, and then she usually goes through like a dramatic wing liner. I don't really use these tones, so I don't know why I bought it. I think the reason I kept it for so long is just because I bought this at a stage where I think I just started a full-time job out of finishing uni. I had a little bit of money and I could actually buy things that I was interested in. And so for me, this was one of my most expensive palettes and such a big splurge that I sort of justified it in my head that it's like something that I really love and the cool packaging and whatnot, that I just kept it because, yeah, it meant a lot to me at the time. But these days it doesn't. I haven't used it in what feels like a decade, not quite. So I'm going to get rid of that, even though, yeah, there is still some emotional connection to it. Same as the face palette that went with it. I was thinking I might pan this, but I did try to use it a couple of times and I don't really love the tones too much. So even though I could pan this and use up the bronzer and the highlighters and maybe this one blush, I just thought, look, it's so old, I don't need it. But again, it holds some like weird connection. I've got some weird connection to it because it was very expensive at the time and it was such a splurge. I remember it released, I think, on Boxing Day in Australia, and it was sort of like my Christmas present to myself and I felt all fancy. But now I don't need them. I don't need them. A few other face palettes that I just don't need, and there's part of me that, again, it's just hard. And I was like, oh, I can maybe pan these, and realistically, I'm not going to. So these are my Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kits. I have the Nicole Guerriero one that had recently just come back. Now, I didn't love this palette. I found on me it was quite frosty. So I quite liked, I think, like the gold and the orange shade, but the rest were very, very frosty on me. This formula is very intense. This was at the peak of like intense highlighters, and it's just not something that I like to use. I think because I'm getting older and my skin texture is showing under highlighter, I'm really particular with what types of highlighter I use, and these are just not it. These are just too bold and too like, yeah, they just emphasize creases and lines and they're not flattering on me. So even though I was really tempted to try to pan this year, I just thought, look, it's going to take me 5 years to pan and I'm not going to enjoy it. The one that I was thinking of panning, because I thought these tones are probably more what I go for on a daily basis, is the, what is this one? The Sun Dipped. So we have some sort of bronzy shades and the pans are even bigger. Again, this would take me like a year just to pan one shade. But again, I sort of liked maybe this particular shade, and they were so intense that it's just not my style of makeup anymore. I think it used to be about 5 years ago, but these days it's just too much. It's just too much. So it just looks so intense and sort of takes over my base. So I thought I may as well get rid of them. Something that I was really excited for when it released was this Moonchild palette, because it's a colorful highlighter palette. At the time, colorful highlighters weren't really a thing, but now they've been, you know, done to death. And this is a very, very blue toned palette. So you can see it's all very blue, 4 shades. are blue, and blue highlighters, even though they can look really cool, they just don't suit me. Let's be real. They just look very, very artificial. They don't flatter the skin on my tones anyway. They make me look a little bit grey and a little bit dead. The only shades that I would probably realistically want to pan is the pink and the green, but again, they're very, very frosty. And I just learnt over the years that white-based frosty highlighters are really ugly on me. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now, I didn't even realize I had so many Anastasia Beverly Hills glow kits. I do have 2 others, and these are ones that I don't want to part with yet. And surprisingly, they are both colourful palettes. I've got the Aurora palette and the Dream palette. But these I think are a little bit more fun, and because they are more of a sparkly, this is a sparkly highlighter formula, it is not as intense, believe it or not. So, and the tones are really nice. So this one almost looks green, but if you swatch it, it does have a lot of sort of pink shimmer in it. So even though it is an unnatural looking highlighter, it does actually have more of a subtle twinkle to it, if that makes sense. So I actually prefer the look of these to these. So I decided not to get rid of this. It might be something I choose to pan in the future. It's going to be a massive palette to try to pan, but I thought these are a little bit more interesting and again, a little bit more flattering for the fun colors. And again, this is not the sparkly formula. This is the more traditional highlighter formula, but when you have something that's like a green, it actually looks a little bit more gold. This purple is actually really stunning. It looks gray purple, but again, when you swatch it, it looks a lot more subtle. Like you can barely even see that. So I much prefer this to these really bright ones or these really bold ones. Again, that green just has a soft sort of gold green shift. So these, even though they look a lot scarier than the ones I showed you, I feel like they're a little bit more prettier on the skin. Some single highlighters that I decided to get rid of. I've got a few here. One is the SUVA Beauty, the Liquid Chrome Illuminating Drops in Trust Fund. I don't mind this. I did try to pan them and I just realized that I don't really use this in my everyday makeup routine. I found that like if I mixed it with my primer or my foundation, made me look really, really greasy and shiny. And then if I tried to layer it on top of foundation, it would just lift my foundation. So it's not something for me, unfortunately. And I did give that a crack. So if I couldn't pan it, it is what it is. MAC, this is the Extra Dimension Skinfinish in Soft Frost. This is a purple highlighter, and similar to those blues and sort of light shades, those white frosty highlighters are just not something I really like. Now, when I was swatching this, I'm like, yeah, it's frosty and gross. And then I tried it on and I'm like, oh, do I want it? Do I want it? Do I want it? There's part of me that's like, this could be pretty. Do I demonstrate it? Let's give it a crack. Yeah, there's part of me that's like, oh, it could be really pretty as a purple highlighter. And then there's another part of me that says, look, how often do you reach for a purple highlighter? And the answer is not often. And I find that purple highlighters and blue highlighters really throw off the sort of undertones to my skin, and they make it look a bit funny. So what I'm actually going to try to do with this is just back to MAC it. So take it into MAC. They recycle the packaging and you swap 6 containers for a new lipstick. So I think I'm just going to do that with that one. Another highlighter that was actually on my short list for products to pan this year. I thought, look, if I try to pan this highlighter, at least I'll get a lot of good use out of it. But realistically, it's one that, again, I loved this back in the day, but I don't need it in my collection. I don't want to say it hasn't aged well because it's a nice highlighter, but on my aging skin, it no longer sort of works well with it. So this is the Balm Mary Luminizer. This is one of the famous, along with like Becca Opal and a few of those highlighters. This was one of the famous like blinding highlighters, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago when the real like strip of highlighter trend was in. And this is a very beautiful, like buttery soft highlighter. Like it's very pigmented, very soft to apply, but you can see it is really bold. And even if you blend it out, it gives a very bold effect. And even though it's pretty, and I do respect that it's lovely, I did try this over a few weeks and I was like, look, I don't love the effect on me. So it's going. It's an old one. It's an oldie but a goodie, but hasn't grown with me. Two more highlighters that I'm getting rid of are these from Jeffree Star. We've got the Supreme Frost Money Honey and Frozen Peach. Frozen Peach we got in mystery bag when we were doing sort of mystery bags on Beauty News. So I thought this was actually going to be a nice color, but it is kind of chunky and it doesn't really do much. Like it sort of just looks like sparse, chunky glitter particles on the skin, but it's not, like I don't mind a glittery highlighter, but this sort of looks like a dull glitter, which just ends up looking like chunky skin. So I don't need that. I don't want that. Money Honey is sort of like a duochrome. It's this gold to green sort of shade. And again, it's kind of cool. And I've got eyeshadows like this. But as a highlighter, it's just too gold for me and too bold. I could keep this as an eyeshadow, but realistically, I don't like Jeffree Star. I don't want it. Again, I might give this to someone who does like Jeffree Star and does want it because it's barely used, but I just don't need this in my life. So see ya, Jeff. I've got two Colourpop Gel Liners. These aren't old, but they are not good. So we've got the shade Piggy Bank, which is this beautiful purple. I was like, that's the most gorgeous purple ever. If that's a beautiful gel liner and it works amazingly, I'm going to use this to death. But sadly, it is chunky, it is dry. It's like putting wet chalk on your eyelids with a brush. It just is not nice. But at least it hasn't completely dried out, unlike this shade, which is even newer. This is Best O, and it's more of a wine shade. And I thought, again, beautiful, it'd be so nice. But look at that. This is not been left open. This is tightened really well, kept in a drawer, away from direct sunlight, away from heat, all that kind of jazz. And like that dark haul, I keep my makeup in that dark haul. Like it is safe. And this is just like a little nugget, like a little bullet. It's just dried out. And it was also very, very dry and hard to apply when I first got it as well. So beautiful shades, but I just am not confident with the formula of these gel liners from Colourpop. I did use, I think it's called Swerve. It was the black one. I used that from start to end. I actually panned that, I used it up, and it was creamy right to the very end. But I've had no luck with the color ones. I feel like they're just a drier formula, and I don't know, this was actually after they reformulated as well. When I had my black one, it was the original release. So maybe they reformulated them to be drier. I don't know. I don't know why they would do that, but yeah, amazing shades. Not nice formula at all, and it would stop me from buying any more of those, because if I've tried 3 and 2 of the 3 are horrible formula, I feel like that's a really bad strike rate. We can't try Colourpop in store in Australia, so I would have no confidence buying those at all from Colourpop. I'm getting rid of look, this is a collector's item and it's very, very cute and very fun. But again, I think what I'm doing this year is I've downsized my makeup desk and my makeup drawers. So I used to be able to just close the door to my study, and I had like makeup boxes and stuff everywhere. And it was like, as long as I close the door, I can't see it, it's all good. But now that I've moved my desk into a walkway to make room for my baby, I just have, when I have a lot of stuff everywhere, I'm like, I don't have space for collector's items that I don't use on a daily basis. So this Sola Look lip trio is going. I love Saved by the Bell. I think it was a really cool reference, but these effectively are metallic liquid lipsticks. And even though they're fun and they do match the characters that they're named after, realistically, I don't like metallic lipsticks. And yeah, look. They're nice and they still work really well. Like, that's a beautiful color, but I don't reach for them, and I mainly kept them because I loved the sort of theme of them. But again, the collector in me is dying because I don't have the space. So it is what it is. I'm also getting rid of my Hoola Lite because it is like a face powder for me. So you can see what it looks like. To me, this is not a bronzer. It's a face powder, and it's not even a great sort of setting face powder. I love Hoola, the original. I think it's a beautiful shade, works really well on my skin tone, but this literally is like, if I was to swatch this on my face, it is lighter than my face. I'm actually really surprised that Benefit brought out a lighter version before they brought out deeper versions. So I think they now have 4 shades in total: light, original, and then like a tan and a deeper one. This to me is like, I know there are some people that love this and they're so fair that they're like, Hoola Light is the best. I feel like if you use this as a bronzer, you could have just used any face powder that's a little bit darker than your skin tone as a bronzer. And because this is pretty much my skin tone, I probably could use this as a powder, but I've got so many powders that are nicer because they're actually designed to be a face powder. I'm going to get rid of this. All right, last thing I'm getting rid of is a foundation. This is a mineral powder. It's the Bare Minerals Original Mineral Powder. I was really excited to try this. And I even tried to shade match myself. This was before the pandemic. And I got a medium 10 shade, which looked fine. But one thing I've noticed about these, so it looked fine, looked like a good match. One thing I've noticed about these is they actually do oxidize when they hit your skin. So I think the oils in your skin just make them apply darker. So if you were looking at Bare Minerals powders, I would recommend to go lighter because they do oxidize darker. Also, this shade, surprisingly, it looks quite like a neutral tone, but on me, when I did use it, it actually ended up looking quite gray toned. So almost like pinky gray. So it looked like dark, dead skin. So it gave me that gray sort of chalky color, but it was too dark. So it just looked wrong. It made me look sick whenever I wore it. Also, I found that this powder, it's got a bit of like a luminosity to it, which sort of made my skin look oilier than it was. And it also grips. So when you apply it over your skincare, which is what I would do, like put my skincare on, let it settle for a bit, and then come back to do my makeup, and I would sort of buff this on, it would grip to certain areas. So you have patches that look high coverage and then other areas that look low coverage. It was just not a nice mineral foundation. I was thinking of trying to pan it, but whenever I wore it, I looked like I was sick. So what's the point of that? And ironically, I was given by a friend the Bare Minerals, I think it was the Blemish Remedy version of this, and it was in an ivory shade, which was too light for her. She didn't want it. And I decided to try it, and that was a far superior version of this. So not only did the color oxidize well to my skin tone, I wouldn't call myself ivory. I'm usually like a beige sort of color, but it was a much better color match than this. And also it didn't have that same issue where it clung to certain areas, looked more high coverage in some areas and then lighter coverage in other areas. It was just a much smoother to apply powder, and it was good because you can also build it to get more coverage. So I found that that was a beautiful powder foundation. If you're thinking of buying a powder foundation from Bare Minerals, I would say go the Blemish Remedy one because it was just a lot better in my opinion. I used it up, I enjoyed it, I would definitely buy it again. This one, I can't even force myself to use it, it's so bad. All right, so those are the products that I'm getting rid of, either by gifting them to friends or just throwing them out if they're old and gross and no one wants them, or if they're bad products. Yeah, so it's interesting because some of these products I actually do like, or I liked back in the day, and they just don't suit my style of makeup anymore or my current aging skin, or they're just horrible products. So if you love these products and you're like, Kat, you're wrong, that Bare Minerals powder is the bomb. Look, everyone's skin is different. Skin chemistry is so different. So things can work on some people and not others. But yeah, these are things that unfortunately don't work on me anymore. If you do want to see me try and go through my full lip collection, I'm doing a monthly series called Project Apocalypse. So there's 2 videos of that up at the moment. And I'm currently working on NARS, which is what this lip product is. So yeah, NARS month is March. So have a great day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.